Welcome, guys. Welcome back for another one of my political discussions regarding what's going on in the Ukraine right now. Um, I mean, it's. Uh, let's see. This. Am I recording? Yes, I am. All right. It's. This was the way I interpreted the situation going was I didn't take it seriously. In my mind, Russia was gonna do its thing, was gonna, posture a little bit to get some concessions from the West, and then everything was gonna come down, and people would have forgotten, like what happened with the Iranian general that was killed by Trump. I don't, I forget his name, but that was a huge deal at the time. Around the same time, 2 years ago, and then now nobody talks about it. I thought this was gonna be one of those crisis points in history, but apparently, America's escalating the points. I mean, look what's happening. Anticipated Russian invasion created crisis for U.S. companies in Ukraine. Now, a lot of companies now, Ukraine is gonna suffer even more economically by what's going on because of the fear of a Russian invasion, and it makes the country, the Ukraine, a very, very bad investment. If you have money in your bank account, let's say you have $100,000 that you want to invest, are you gonna invest that money in Ukraine? Of course not. Because it's in a very unstable portion of the world. You don't know if the next day you're gonna lose your investment because Russia invaded, or because there will be a war between Russia and Ukraine, and then some back sort of coalition from the outside, and then it's a very and now we're gonna see a potential economic collapse in Ukraine if this continues, if this persists, uh, because it makes the country seem very, very unstable, and maybe a lot of companies that have invested in the country will start pulling money out because once war is declared, all bets are off. So this is an article discussing just that prerogative. How it's a little bit more complicated. Basically, there's this American company that has 500 employees in Ukraine, and now they're deciding should we get them out. If we do, how difficult it is to get them out. And the U.S. has basically said that in the next 48 hours, companies should, if any American in the Ukraine should evacuate. So that's not alleviating tensions for at all. Then we have this article here where Biden promises swift response if Russia invades Ukraine, which is that's what we need. And it's it's I don't know what's been going on with the American media as of late. And this isn't an American article. This is about Al Jazeera, which is a Qatari um news uh, network. But I've been seeing CNN and all those mainstream media just go behind. It was in a very eerie manner. Just go behind the Ukrainian, Russian-Ukrainian war, and like we're with Ukraine no matter what. Let's go to war. What the hell, man? Like we all know that the mainstream media in general. I don't want to just focus on CNN, but have been going off the rails this past few years, and now we're going to war. That's the narrative. We're advocating for war against a country with 5,000 nuclear weapons, and then Ukrainian president plays down the U.S. warnings of imminent Russian invasion. I love the way it's worded. This is by Global News, and let's see the quote here. I just read it. So Zelensky, the name of the president of Ukraine, has repeatedly played down the United States warnings. He's basically saying, stop. What Zelensky's been saying till now is, stop putting oil on the fire. Okay, so just you're not helping the situation by just blowing this out of proportion. What he was talking about the United States media, which has been going on. I mean, it's a full-on propaganda at this point. Not propaganda is the wrong word, but they're going all out to advocate for war. It's insane. Now the Germany's chancellor is in talk with the Ukraine's president in Kiev right about now, give or take, and you know it's a mess. Like Germany, while at the same time is, you know, giving they were giving a loan of 150 million euros to the Ukraine. Let's see, yeah, 150 million euros, 170 million dollars to Kiev as a loan, as sort of a help, but they're not giving them any lethal weapons to Ukraine. And the reason why Germany is so careful to not antagonize Russia is because of this pipeline, the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which is let's go see what it's all about. Nord Stream, which is a pipeline that connects Russian gas to Germany. This is Nord Stream, and the Nord Stream. This is the first one, and the second one. Do we have a photo of the second one? Nord Stream 2 was laid. All right, but is there a map? Is there a map? Come on, guys. A map. Well, we're gonna use this one, I guess. Well, okay, so it's basically the same location. Look at this. Nord Stream 2 goes basically the same route. So that's one of the reasons why Germany is so, careful with Russia, because they don't want to lose that cheap gas. Otherwise, the price of gas, of electricity, of heat in Germany will go through the roof. And they're protecting their interests. And here I have another vignette where it shows how the Ukrainian dollar, if you will, has fallen down in value over the past few hours. 5 days, it has gone for 0.036 cents to. It has only fallen down 3%. So I'm making this maybe a little bit more than it is, but I'm anticipating the Kiev dollar to fall even further than that if economically Ukraine becomes a very, very how should I put this, unappealing region of the world to invest, and maybe a lot of companies will just pull out money and not reinvest it in the country. Now, the reason why this is all going on is because of this. In 2008, there was a NATO summit in Bucharest, in Romania, where NATO decided it will not yet offer membership to Georgia and Ukraine. Nevertheless, the NATO Secretary General, this guy, Jaap de Hoop Scheffer, said that Georgia and Ukraine will eventually become members. And resistance was met by France and Germany. The reason why is because it's a very aggressive stance to say that it didn't offer they didn't offer membership to Georgia and Ukraine yet to join NATO, but the generals, basically the Secretary General was like, they're coming in anyways, and everything's gonna be fine, which is insane to say at the time. A lot of people, as I said, Germany and France at the time were resistant to all these, to this very aggressive rhetoric. And if we're gonna see a map of NATO, what's been going on? Why has Russia been so scared? Is because of this. This is a map of Russia and its allies, which is Belarus. This is Belarus here. The blue is NATO. And look at this. Their sort of talking point, which is a pretty valid one, is they're afraid of being encircled by NATO. Which, I mean, they're on their verge of being, because they have a border with Norway, they have a border with the Baltic states. Now they're afraid that if they get this, Ukraine and Georgia, but Ukraine joins the Ukrainian border becomes a border of NATO, and now they're completely encircled. And so, the US will be able to post military bases and military equipment on the border with Ukraine and Russia, and the Russia is afraid of that, obviously. And that's what this whole crisis has been all about. This Now there's been a lot of solutions proposed. Some say, just say to the Ukrainian president to shut the fuck up and say that I won't join NATO. This is my, there will be a written agreement that Ukraine will never join NATO, and make your country neutral to stop this whole crisis, which is a pretty good point. Let's be honest here. It's all well and good to play this whole rhetoric of, and the other rhetoric that's being said is, well, how can we can't say which nations would want it, which nation can join it and can join NATO. The nations, sort of, I don't know what you might call it, destiny is in their hands. How can we say that they cannot join NATO? Which is actually a pretty good point, but let's be realistic. If you want to avoid war at all costs, the easier thing to do is to just say, listen, I'm not joining NATO. And Russia will back off because they'll be like, okay, or at least those are listen, I don't know what's going on in the mind of Putin, okay? Is he using this whole NATO-Ukraine deal to invade Ukraine on his own? And so if Ukraine just comes out and says, listen, we're gonna sign a document that says we're never joining NATO, and then he has to back off, right? Unless he's using this to gain more power, gain more territory, whatever. And I don't know, man. This crisis is going way, way, way out of hand than I would have ever expected, to be honest. I would have expected this to go, a little bit, and everything was gonna just go back where it was. But no, things, this is escalating way beyond my wildest dreams, to be honest. This is getting way, way, way out of hand, and I don't know what's gonna happen. We'll see in the next few days. Now there's been an ultimatum by the US that says to Russia that if you don't withdraw troops within 24 hours, or else, what's gonna happen? It ends tomorrow. I mean, Jesus Christ. Anyways, I hope you liked my little political video. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like. Tell me guys what you think about this conflict. I'll see you guys next time. See you guys.